The criminal justice process in Texas. When someone gets arrested for a crime in Texas, what happens next? While each case is different and unique, there is a general process that they all must go through before reaching a verdict. The first step in this process is for the accused to be arraigned before a judge. This is where the judge will remind them of their due process rights and explain the charges against them. The person then enters a plea, such as guilty or not guilty. Afterwards, since there can be up to 180 long days until the actual trial, the judge decides if the defendant will be released on bail, and if so, how much it will be. Bail is a way of making sure that the defendant will return to court by having them pay the court a set amount of money, which is then returned to them when the case is over. However, if the individual decides not to show up, or he tries to flee, the bail money is not returned. Before the trial may begin, there are many procedures or hearings that are held in order to prepare for the trial. Usually these hearings are pretty short, but are very important in moving the case forward. There are several different types of pretrial hearings. For example, at a bail hearing, an attorney can ask the bail amount to be lowered, but they must also prove that the defendant can't pay the amount, aren't a danger to the public, and has reasons to stay in the area instead of running away. A defendant can also hold a suppression hearing if they feel that evidence was improperly seized and ask the court that this evidence not be used in trial. During this pretrial phase, the defendant and the prosecutor can also request to exchange information between themselves and inspect evidence, under the supervision of the state, of course. Once the state is ready, a trial is finally held. By default, everyone has the right to a trial by jury. However, they may waive this right and have a judge decide their guilt or innocence instead. This may seem odd, but can be helpful to the defendant in special cases where they feel a jury would be too emotional to cast a fair judgment due to the nature of the crime committed. If the defendant is found guilty, a punishment of jail or prison time, probation, or fines is determined. If the defendant is found innocent, then they are now able to walk free. To summarize, after a person is arrested in Texas, they must arraign before a judge and enter a plea. Then, while they are waiting for their trial to begin, many hearings may be held, which help in the court preparations. Finally, a trial is held, and the guilt or innocence of the defendant is decided. There are many factors that feed into this system, but all criminal cases in Texas will follow these basic steps.